On today's show, Kyrie Irving is good at basketball. How good at basketball? And how much better does he make the Mavericks? We talk about his debut and what are the Mavs going to do at trade deadline? Talk about all that and more in today's Locked On Mavs.
I'm Luka Doncic, and this is Locked On Mavericks.
10 Mavericks, NBA champions. Bang! It's good! And the Mavericks have won the game!
I don't believe you shouldn't be here.
Loyalty never fades away.
They don't. And welcome. You are locked on to the Dallas Mavericks. My name is Nick Angstadt, media member and NBA channel manager of the Locked On Podcast Network. Your team every day. Thanks for being part of the show, making Locked On Mavs your first listen each and every day. We are free and available on all podcast platforms, including YouTube. But the best way you can help us grow the show is to listen every day and to comment anything below. Let us know what's one thing that stood out to you about Kyrie's debut for the Dallas Mavericks. We'll talk all kinds of things Dallas Mavericks with Kyrie Irving, his debut. What did he look like? We'll talk about all that today. Today's episode is brought to you by FanDuel. FanDuel Sportsbook, official sportsbook of Locked On. Make every moment more. Visit FanDuel.com/LockedOn today to get started. And joining me, as always, my co-host, writer, contributor at Mavs.com, the Let It Ride runner, the One More Thing King. What you got for me, Isaac Harris?
This was such a weird feeling watching this game.
It's like watching a different team.
We have watched this Mavericks team every minute, every game for the past 6 years. We've been, I've been in Dallas for a handful of years after that.
I was gonna say, I think 7 years for us because we covered the team for, at least I did, a year before we started Locked On Mavs.
That's true, yeah. And just fans of Mavs ball and stuff before that. But let's just say, the Luka, years here, it was so weird watching tonight because we've just never seen like a player at that level besides Luka, even since Luka. I mean, we're, start covering the team in the, last few years of Dirk, like just haven't had a player at that level. So just watching, I mean, one, it's Kyrie Irving, one of the most popular players in, basketball, but to see him have a Mavs jersey on pre-game, my wife and I were watching, we're like, this is so weird seeing him in a Mavs jersey. But then just watching him play ball, it's like, all right, this is just mind-boggling. Like, this is a Maverick, like this is the same Mavs team we've been watching, and he, like, another guy at like near Luka's level is on the Mavs. It was a kind of a surreal experience.
It was an interesting game. The Mavericks get the win 110-104 against the Clippers. Healthy Clippers team, by the way. The only guy out for them is John Wall, who may not make another appearance for them. They're looking to trade him. Mark Stein tweeted that during the game. We'll talk about that. We'll also talk about the I already said that. We'll talk about the rumors and everything happening with the trade deadline. Mavs might still make a deal. Kyrie Irving, debut for the Mavericks. Luka Doncic does not play. And the thing that stood out to me was, one, what Isaac said, just the talent level. 24 points, 5 assists, 4 boards. Had some trouble with some turnovers. He had 5 turnovers. I think they were all like uncharacteristic turnovers for Kyrie. First game with the team. 8 points in the fourth. He's the leading scorer in the fourth quarter or at least one of the leading scorers in the fourth quarter in the NBA. The Mavs need that so bad. They have not been good offensively in the fourth quarter, and he just makes them different. They imagine those double teams against Luka with Kyrie as the other guy. We got to kind of see the inverse of that, like Kyrie as the guy that was doubled in the fourth quarter in this game, and then he swings it around to other guys. Seeing the way that he can create a shot. There was a moment in the fourth quarter. Yeah, 10 minutes left in the game. Kyrie gets a rebound, runs, stop and pop. He is so quick at just the running and stopping immediately. Like, you saw it a couple times in this game. There was the play that the Clippers challenged late in the fourth quarter, but that beginning of the third quarter where he just gets the rebound, stops, pops, hits a 3, and the Mavs really needed a bucket there. And he just went and got it. And it's just wild to watch a guy that can just go and do that stuff.
Yeah, I mean, he's going to get Luka in shape. Just kidding, guys. Just kidding. Don't come at me.
Are they going on ayahuasca together? Like,
but in all honesty, though, I mean, having a guy with his speed with the ball is another thing too. I mean, I mean, I was seeing Mavs fans sorry this year. It's like, oh, Jaden Hardy, it's just crazy seeing him drive to that. And it's like, I mean, Jaden's fine player, but like to see Kyrie Irving get the ball off a rebound, or somebody, Dwight get a rebound and hand it, Kyrie, and he's flying down the floor. And that was just a change up of like, whoa, all right, we're playing a little faster, having a little fun. Like Kyrie's gonna get out there and want to push the ball. Let's get running a little bit. Luka's gonna be like, hey, can we slow it down just a little bit? Or he's gonna run and have fun with it. But here's the thing: having somebody else that can break down a defense,
yes,
and hit an open man with incredible passes. That you see how Brunson played with Luka, but Brunson was he got quicker last year. That was one of the things we talked about a lot last year on this podcast, was like how quicker he was, better in isolation, like all the stuff that he had gotten. But Kyrie's ability just to get into the paint and hit the open man, it's like, okay, Luka really doesn't have to be out there all the time. There's somebody else on the team that can set up the whole team and hit these open, guys across in the corners and stuff. Yeah, that was one of the biggest things I wrote down on my notes. It's like, wow, this is a changeup.
And not even just in the fourth quarter when it was doubled. In that first quarter where the Mavericks kind of won the game, right? It was a wire-to-wire win. So it got really hot in that first quarter. Reggie Bullock hits, 5 threes in that first quarter. And it was Kyrie, like, encouraging the offense to move around a little bit. I saw early on these instances of, all right, Dwight Powell has the ball, and he, looks around. He's at the free throw line. He's facing his back to the basket. He looks around, sees Kyrie, locks eyes with Kyrie, and is like, I give you the ball now. And Kyrie was like, no, run something else. Have Bullock come around to another screen from Tim or Josh Green or something else. And that's happened a couple times in that first quarter where you just have other guys touching the ball and you just have the ball moving around a little bit more. And it's going to sound like a knock on Luka, but that's just something we haven't seen from Luka basketball at this point, because they haven't had a player like that. But for Kyrie to encourage that, especially even in his first game, I thought that was like a catalyst to that first quarter, to where they go out to an 18-8 lead early, then they go on a 13-0 run after that. They're up 24-9, and then they finished the quarter with 41 points. It was interesting to see it. Like you said, it looked like a different team getting fast break points and all of it.
They seem so confident. The vibes over the last two games.
Oh.
The win.
Dare we say?
We can use it.
I don't have the drop anymore. But
boo.
Well, it's Brunson, but the drop was Brunson saying the vibes are immaculate.
But they were. They were. Our last game with Kyrie and those guys out, and then this game, it just from the opening tip. Reggie Bullock hit 5 threes in a row to start the game. Amazing. For him, right? And we can talk about.
I'm sorry. How many threes did he hit?
5.
I have to apologize that you felt that he should have played more.
You knew it was coming. Every one of you knew it was coming.
Kyrie off ball.
Yeah.
I think that's one of the things. Obviously we've never covered a team with Kyrie Irving on it, so to where we're not watching Kyrie every single minute of every single game that he's playing.
Now we are.
And it's like that he's shifty. All the stuff that about Kyrie and his shooting and offense ability. He's a better defender than I've always thought that. He's a better defender than what a lot of people give him credit for.
Yeah, I agree.
But just watching him tonight as a member of our team, whatever you want to say, how you want to say that.
That was really cute the way you just said that.
He moves so well off the ball. Our team. Steph is incredible at that. But watching Kyrie move off the ball tonight, because I'm not gonna lie, I just watch Kyrie for most of the night. It's like watching him off the wall, watching him play defense, dissecting everything. It's like watching how he interacts with teammates and stuff. Every dead ball, he's finding teammates. This is why you hear so much. One of the examples is why players and teammates love this guy,
yes,
and love playing with the guy. So it was a cool debut to see Kyrie tonight, and a big win for him too. I know it's all about Kyrie. It was a big win for him also.
They needed this win. They get the win. And it was great to see how Kyrie can make this team different. They got the fast break points. They were moving the ball around. Coming up, let's talk about how the game was won. Let's talk about some more things that we saw from Kyrie specifically, and then how the Mavericks got this win. We'll talk about that coming up. But before we do, let me tell you about FanDuel. FanDuel is the new sports betting partner for Locked On. They are the #1 sports book in America. If you're new to FanDuel, that's even better. They have so many great features that can make betting on sports easy and fun. Download FanDuel right now so you can bet Super Bowl 57 with a no-sweat first bet. You'll get up to $3,000 back in bonus bets if your first bet doesn't win. Let's see what we got for Super Bowl. A couple game props. First team to convert a first down. You get Kansas City or Philadelphia -110. So you pick either one of them. Who's getting the first down first?
Who is winning the coin toss? I'll say Philly.
Well, they could go 3 and out the first time. They don't necessarily have to.
Philly. I'll go.
What will happen first? A sack or a touchdown?
A sack.
Those are both -110. So you can bet on all these kind of things. Go check it out at FanDuel. Again, no sweat first bet up to $3,000 back in bonus bets. If you go to FanDuel.com/lockedon to claim it right now, go ahead, check it out. FanDuel.com/lockedon. All right, Isaac Harris, let's get into this game. Again, the Dallas Mavericks get the win against the Clippers, 110-104. Come out to a big 41-point first quarter. Finished the game off with a 29-point fourth quarter that was huge. Kyrie getting doubled a bunch. The Mavericks moving the ball around. What else did you see from Kyrie in this game? The 24 points. We talked about his change of directions, the shiftiness, the shooting, the off-ball movement, getting people to move without the ball. I thought that it was very interesting to see this team play with Kyrie as opposed to anyone else that they played.
Yeah, I was really impressed with his health. He played 36 minutes. He's had the right calf soreness, and
that Jacques Vaughn's been talking about for weeks. And even after the trade was done, Jacques Vaughn was asked about his calf, and he's like, "It's still sore."
Yeah, so it was really good to see him out there. Didn't seem like it bothered him, a ton. So he looked healthy, and it's cool that he could play that many minutes. But no, just getting other guys.
Okay, at the end of that, I couldn't tell if it was still a bit from you because you just kept going with it. Was that a bit? Or
yeah, it was a bit. I tweeted about it today, and there were a couple people thought I was being serious about it. But
you just kept talking about it for so long. I was like, oh, this may not be a bit. You got me at the end. Yeah, you did.
Yeah, that's good. I don't get to get you very often anymore.
No.
But no, just having another guy out there that just comes down the floor, and the dude was barking out orders, and he's only been there. It's just game one. It's telling people where to go. Even him and Christian Wood missed out on a lob, to each other. He threw it off the backboard. It looked like he was telling Christian Wood to jump. And
he's like, I don't shoot that bad. Come on, man.
But he's grabbing him, talking to him about it. I think that was one of the things that stood out, was just how vocal and how much. It literally felt like Kyrie Irving was the leader of the team tonight, and it was game one. And I don't think you don't see that very often of a guy stepping in. So
well, there's an interesting relationship now that Kyrie's going to be 31 in March. Luka's 23. He's about to be 24, but he's 23 right now. When LeBron and Kyrie won the title in 2016, LeBron was 31 and Kyrie was 23. So think about the age of those guys on that team. I'm not saying that they're about to win the title, but it's that type of relationship now that you have with Kyrie as the veteran now and Luka as the younger guy. And they've been very clear that it's Luka's team, right? I think from the opening, I think Jason Kidd commented on it. Kyrie Irving said I'm here to support Luka and lead with him, saying all that, saying all the right things that you want to hear somebody say about, playing with a generational star like Luka. And yes, that dynamic is going to be interesting. Who's leading, and Luka leads a little bit, but he's not really stepped up into he'll yell at guys when they do stuff wrong, but he hasn't been the vocal leader for the Mavericks the last couple of years.
He leads in his own way.
For sure. But we've talked about how Dorian had been a leader throughout the playoff run, and Brunson had become a leader in that right. And Dwight Powell's a leader in the locker room in different ways. And it's interesting it'll be an interesting dynamic to bring in Kyrie, who on the court, in the locker room, everyone has respected, has been, a great leader. I don't know if I would say he selflessly led a team, as he said, but the other thing I thought that he just, the way that guys react to him, seeing Jaden Hardy, there's a fast break where Kyrie and Jaden Hardy were running down the court, and Jaden Hardy loses the ball or something happens where the ball goes out of bounds. He misses Kyrie on some pass or something. And Jaden Hardy is looking at him laughing and trying to catch his catches gaze like, you see what I was trying to do, but like I messed it up. He's like, I'm sorry, I messed it up. But
my name's Jaden. Hey,
I know. It kind of felt like that. We love Jaden Hardy and love just how much he loves the game and loves other players and has like a reverence for Kyrie. It's going to be really interesting to see them interact, but that moment and a couple other moments, like seeing a revitalized JaVale McGee, seeing Theo Pinson come out in the fourth quarter, like this is really, I feel like this move, and I feel like some trades can just energize a team. Obviously, the one last year, the Porzingis Dinwiddie trade, definitely energized this team last year. I feel like they may do it again this year.
All right, let's talk about some of these other guys real quick. JaVale McGee. So
I mean,
what happened? Is he excited about being elsewhere, or the dude comes in and has? I mean,
if you just looked at the box score, you'd be like 6.5 minutes. All right, he won for 3 from the field, but 5 boards, 2 of them on the offensive end, and 3 blocks in just 6 minutes. Like, it was the best we've seen from JaVale McGee.
Yeah, and just like hustling and battling, down low and stuff. And he played over Christian Wood. I mean, in the rotation, I was like, oh, okay. Christian Wood's just not going to play in this game because he's probably going to be dealt tomorrow. And then Christian Wood comes in later and is like, all right, so they're just playing JaVale over Christian Wood. But no, I mean, for him, I thought it was a good game for him. And then our guy, more than a hype man.
Oh, yes.
Friend of the pod. Theo Pinson. I mean, he had some big moments tonight.
Big.
Yeah. He ran point a little bit too.
Ran point a little bit. When Kyrie was getting doubled, he was the one getting the ball at times. He had 9 points. He had 2 threes, hit a free throw, had 3 assists in this game. Like, honestly, had a really, really big impact on this game, especially late in the fourth. There was a moment in the fourth quarter where, 26 seconds left. Kyrie gets doubled. Theo Pinson gets the ball at the nail or at the free throw line and then kicks over to Tim Hardaway Jr. for a 3. Tim Hardaway hits it, and that basically sealed the game for him. He's had just some great moments in this game. He hit that another 3 at in the middle of the fourth quarter, where the Mavs go up by 10 in the fourth quarter when it seemed like the Clippers were coming back. Just big moments from Theo Pinson. But that's what I was talking about. It just feels like this trade like revitalized some of these guys. Gotta love when more than a hype man Theo Pinson gets in there. I mean, gets the interview after the game from Harp. And did you catch Bally's? Were you watching Bally's?
No.
Oh, it's okay. It's on ESPN too. But
I watch ESPN.
Harp called him coach.
I'm sorry, guys.
Harp called him coach in the interview. He goes, "Now, coach, at this juncture," and he's like, "Oh, hold on, sorry." And Theo didn't really like it. You could tell that he responded. He kind of twinged with it, but I thought it was funny. He called Theo coach.
But yeah, there was multiple role players tonight that played well. Theo, JaVale. I thought Josh had another good game.
Amazing.
I mean, the dude he just continues to, his little stock arrow continues just to go up in the green. Just playing defense, playing defense so hard, getting out in transition. Him and Kyrie, had a few moments of just connecting on passes, even a fast break a little bit. Yeah, I mean, I just thought he played another good game.
Who played 40 minutes in this game? Josh Green, Reggie Bullock. It felt like playoff minutes.
There we go. Yeah.
It felt like playoff minutes with Dorian and Reggie. Josh Green has really stepped into that role. And yeah, he had that big block. Like you said, a couple of really good steals. He had a steal. There was a moment in the second quarter. He gets that huge block off the ball. He comes from help defense. And I think it was Norman Powell. He blocks him off of a jump shot. And then there's a play where he was just standing in front of Paul George and just forced him into a turnover. Got a steal just straight up, one-on-one. And then he got another ISO steal right off of that and got a fast break bucket. But seeing Josh Green step up in these moments it's really encouraging. They desperately need him to be good. I think in the trade at the trade deadline, they need to add one more wing guy.
Yeah.
And so we'll talk about that coming up. But Josh Green I thought was great. We kind of talked about Reggie Bullock, but
I was gonna say I wanted to mention Reggie.
What an amazing game! 18 points, 6 assists too, because he was the guy that was they got the ball off of a lot of doubles.
Yeah, I've seen some tweets from some people about the Carolina boys having a good game of Theo and Reggie. But that's another thing too about having Kyrie out there. Whenever you have Kyrie and Luka now, I mean, you're going to create even more open threes in those corners. because I mean it's just gonna be drive and kick all day long with Kyrie and Luka. So like I mean Reggie coming into form. I remember when people wanted Reggie gone for nothing back in the fall. So just want to point that out.
Just want to make sure. Tim Hardaway Jr. finally had a good shooting game. 19 points for him, 7 of 16 from the field, hit 4 of his 9 threes. Tim Hardaway had 6 assists in this game.
Whoa.
What is this team? Who is this team I just watched? Like, it's so different.
We'll see who's on this team tomorrow.
We'll see who's on this team coming up. Let's talk about who is going to be on this team and who might not be on this team tomorrow. We'll talk about that coming up. All right, Isaac Harris, NBA trade deadline starts, at least for us, in 10 minutes. And that day starts in 10 minutes. It is at 2 p.m. Central Time. So 2 p.m. Texas time, nighttime, I guess, for everyone living in Slovenia. And so you guys get to enjoy it then.
Can I ask you a question off the top? Just one more thing.
It's like the beginning of the third segment.
First thing. I've seen some people today do a little bit of the all right, which I don't want to break down the whole like Lakers Jazz mini trade a ton.
I'll do that on Locked On NBA and go listen to it with me and Pat today.
But I've seen some people do the whole, man, I would almost rather have what the Lakers got, because they basically gave up a protected first round pick, expiring contract in Russ. So, you could do the whole like, all right, what's the expiring contracts that could equal Russ here in Dallas with the pick? I mean, I've seen some Mavs fans say that I'd rather have the D'Lo, Beasley, Vanderbilt, instead of a Kyrie thing. I wonder if you're still saying that after watching this game.
I think if you're saying that, you're taking into account what we've seen from Kyrie in the past. And like, yes, there is a chance, and probably a good chance, that this blows up in Dallas's face at a certain point, because the last 3 instances of Cleveland, Boston, and Brooklyn with Kyrie. And so like, if you're taking that into account and you're considering, he's a flight risk, not sure what's going to happen with Kyrie, you're taking into account some of the off the court stuff. Like if you're thinking about that, then yeah, but just basketball wise, like no way. Like you see what one player.
I like Vanderbilt and Beasley
for sure, and D'Lo has shot really, really well this year, and would be one of the best shooters on the Mavericks this year. But like, you see what one player can do for a team, right? Like you can only play 5 at a time, and so what one player can do to elevate a team, it's basketball wise. I wouldn't understand doing that deal instead of the one the Mavs got.
Yeah, I agree. You do the Kyrie deal over that deal.
I just wish they could have kept Dorian.
I know.
I'm always gonna think that and feel that.
I saw the Nets photo shoot with him today, and
I can't look at any of that stuff. I finally just got okay with watching Brunson in a Knicks jersey.
And the Lakers won that trade by a wide margin, and it was dumb.
Yeah, there's a lot of Adam Silver called up Danny Ainge and was like, "Hey, I'll help you in the lottery odds. I'll boost your lottery odds a little bit. Nobody knows what happens there.
Yeah,
just help LeBron out. Okay, this is a really big deal for us as a league."
Dwayne Wade's like, "Hey, I want to help out my bud." So,
yeah, also that. Yeah, also Dwayne Wade's part owner of the Jazz.
So dumb. Anyway,
maybe he got the call from Adam Silver, who got the call from LeBron. But yeah, let's talk about some trades. So the latest reports we've heard from Tim McMahon is the Mavericks are still shopping Tim Hardaway Jr. and Christian Wood, trying to see what they've gotten, what they can get for one of those guys. And there just really isn't a market for him right now. It's very strange to watch. It's the whole Christian Wood experience has been so interesting to see a guy that has that many skills, that can score like him, block shots, but can't really play defense really. And then no one wants to trade for him. like no one does for like 2 years now, because the Rockets tried for a year and now the Mavericks have been trying at least for a couple of weeks. And it's just a really interesting experience to watch and see that. But what do you think about Christian Wood? Do you predict that he actually gets moved, and do you have any ideas of where it could be?
Yeah, I think he's gone. Yeah. Yeah, I said this the other day. The only reason why I could see him not being gone is the fact that he's an expiring contract, and that the whole like, we don't want to do the whole plan B, if Kyrie leaves thing, is the cap space. But like, he's an expiring contract, and if literally they're out there and like nobody will just give him anything that could be in the rotation, then you might as well just keep him and just be like, all right. But I mean, tonight they played JaVale over him, so it's like,
So Isaac's going to say that if you're looking at the box score and you say, well, he played more minutes than JaVale, but JaVale McGee came into the game before Christian Wood a couple times in this game when the normal rotations would go. And so
in the first and third quarters and stuff,
they weren't featuring Christian Wood or playing him as if, like, they played Tim Hardaway as if he's going to still be on the team and that he's big part of this team. They did not play Christian Wood like that, right? And so
there were games earlier in the season that they were running plays and offense through Christian Wood.
Yeah, they're not
at times.
tonight.
Tonight it was like, hey, you're just kind of like out there doing your thing.
Yeah.
I expect him to be gone. I think, if I had to make a guess on it, I'm obviously watching the Clippers thing. We've heard multiple times the Clippers are interested in him. If I had to make a prediction, would both of them be in a Clippers uniform? Would they just switch locker rooms as far as Tim and Christian Wood?
You could send both of them?
If I had to make a prediction, I think I would choose that.
Ooh. That they'll go in a trade together?
Yeah.
So the trade would be like Reggie Jackson, Robert Covington, John Wall.
Luke Kennard.
Oh, and Luke Kennard instead of John Wall.
Mm-hmm.
That one almost works. I think you have to add a couple more. You have to add like $4 more million from the Mavericks.
Frank Ntilikina.
See ya, Frank.
is around $2 million, and then it's a 3-for-3 trade there.
People forget about Frank.
I could see that as a possibility. The Tim Hardaway one is the hardest one to predict because there's the longer term money for sure, but also he's a good shooter.
Yes.
And I could see any team in the last few hours before the deadline convincing themselves of, all right, we always need shooting. Like, we always need shooting off the bench or a guy that can spot up on the wing or something like that. So it's hard to like try to pinpoint a team. I think I'm more confident in like a Christian Wood as far as like highlighting a few teams. Like, it wouldn't shock me if Christian Wood's a Clipper, a Portland Trailblazer, a Sixer.
What are the Blazers doing? They traded Josh Hart for Cam Reddish and like a highly protected first to the Knicks today. First of all, seeing Brunson's reaction to the Josh Hart trade was awesome. I did really appreciate that. But like, I don't know what the Blazers are doing. Like, are they all of a sudden sellers?
I don't know. And we got to figure out what Dallas is prioritizing too, because you can make an argument that they need three things, right? They still need the backup ball handler. Yeah. They still need another wing. And what's their center rotation?
Okay, wait. Do they need the backup ball handler?
Yeah, I think they do. I think they need somebody.
For now, at least in the regular season, it's going to be Hardy, right? They should at least try it. In the playoffs, it can't be. He's just not. I don't think he's going to be ready by then. You just see the mistakes he's making, like in a game like this, where I thought he played decently overall. What did he finish with? He played 12 minutes. He hit a couple shots. But 5 turnovers. Like, you see the mistakes that he makes in games like this, and you're like, I don't think he can
I would still try to add somebody, even for the regular season, even if it's a guy like Reggie Jackson, and it's Reggie Jackson and Jaden Hardy as like, guards off the bench. Like, I would be down for something like that. Or like, if Chicago gets, Russell Westbrook, which, why would they get Russ? They got Goran Dragic. What if they buy out Dragic, right? Like,
yeah,
let it go. Like, finally do it, and bring Dragic, and it's Dragic and Hardy off the bench, something like that. I think you're gonna see that scenario. In my opinion, I think tomorrow at the deadline, they try to address one or two of those things at the deadline, and it's like a wing and a big, or like backup ball handler and a wing, something like that. And then whatever for that third spot, whether it's a big or a backup ball handler, we're going to see them really go in the buyout market, or really go in for like, see who gets, released or something like that, as far as like a minimum type of guy, and they just add the guy to it. So
the buyout market's really interesting. We're going to talk about it a lot, because all of a sudden the Mavericks have like a role. They'll have a role for buyout guys, because a lot of times you get these buyout guys and there's just no role for them on good teams. They don't want to just go to these terrible, like, they don't want to go to the Hornets and just like hang out with LaMelo Ball and play terrible basketball, or the Rockets or wherever. They want to go to a team where they're actually going to go and have a role. And then they have Kyrie and Luka. Like, Kyrie, I think, is gonna, and maybe Theo Pinson too. Did you see Chris Paul tweeting about Theo Pinson tonight?
Yeah.
Like, I think,
and a playoff team, like
right.
Contender.
And I think Kyrie's going to be a good like recruiter for those guys, and I think the Mavericks are going to get some of these buyout guys that they normally wouldn't get because of how they're positioned now. Yeah,
no, I agree 100%. So that's the what I'm curious to see how many of those spots they try to address. In the perfect world, it's a bigger trade. And you can get one of those guys. It's kind of like what the Lakers just did. They got shooting, they got another big, they got a point guard. It's like, okay, they got kind of 3 for 1 there. But
hey, can someone call Adam Silver and see if he'll do that deal for the Mavs? Imagine what the ratings would be like if Luka was in the finals, guys.
But there's some Philly stuff. We know they're interested in Thibault, so
for sure.
Philly's looking for a backup big. Christian Wood could be that. There's some different iterations in a Philly deal. Atlanta's a wild card. What the heck are they going to do? They could, blow up all kinds of stuff. And it's not just backup, point guard, right? What if Atlanta and Dallas does something around Tim Hardaway and Bogdanovich? Bogdan can play the third ball handler role. 100%. Bogdan can run the defense or run the offensive stuff in that second unit and different stuff. So, there's different ways they can do that besides backup point guards, but I fully expect Dallas to make a deal tomorrow, maybe even 2.
Yeah, they should. We will be covering it. We'll have an instant reaction podcast whenever we do. I will be live on Locked On NBA for a while, starting at 1 p.m. Central till deals stop getting made. So come hang out with me and John Corrales and Pat the Designer and a bunch of other Locked On NBA hosts, and then stay with us. We will be doing an instant reaction and doing a podcast at night with all the trades and deals that go down. Guys, thanks so much for listening to Locked On Mavs.
Peace out.
Boom.